Stop. Right now, stop scrolling. Stop dismissing what you're about to hear as just another video, another voice in the endless noise, because what's about to be spoken isn't random. Deep in the sacred space of your soul, you already know it. Your heart is racing, isn't it? That tightness in your chest, that sudden awareness washing over you, that's not anxiety. That's recognition. That's your spirit responding to truth it's been running from. God doesn't interrupt lives without reason. When He shows up, it's because you're standing at the edge of something that has the power to shatter you if you take one more step forward blind. If this moment feels personal, if these words feel like they're reaching directly into the hidden places of your heart, it's because they are. You didn't find this message found you. There comes a sacred moment when God stops repeating Himself. Not because He's given up, but because everything that needed to be said has already been whispered, shouted, and written across the circumstances of your life in letters you refused to read. Think back. How many times has that same thought invaded your mind in the quiet hours? How many times has that unease crept into your chest when you're alone? How many times has sleep escaped you because something inside knows you're living against your own truth? Those weren't random thoughts. That was God warning you, protecting you from a fall you couldn't yet see coming. But here's the devastating truth. God's warnings come with expiration dates. Not because He stops caring, but because at some point, love must honor free will. At some point you must choose, or the choice will be made for you by consequence. You've been mistaking God's patience for permission. Because nothing catastrophic happened immediately, you assumed your path must be acceptable. Because you could still function, still smile, you convinced yourself that maybe you were fine. But mercy is not agreement. Mercy is time. Sacred borrowed time to wake up, turn around, and choose differently before pain becomes your only teacher. That peace you used to feel? It's gone. The things that once brought joy now feel hollow. The path that once felt right now feels like walking through fog, moving forward only because stopping would mean admitting you're lost. You felt it in prayers that seemed to bounce off the ceiling, not because God wasn't listening, but because His answer hadn't changed, and you kept asking Him to bless what He'd already told you to release. You felt it in the delays that frustrated you, the doors that wouldn't open. You called it bad luck. God called it protection. He wasn't blocking your progress. He was guarding your future from a version of success that would have cost you your soul. Some warnings don't arrive as words. They arrive as resistance, as that knot in your stomach that tightens every time you move in a certain direction, as that voice you've learned to silence but never truly goes away. That discomfort you've been carrying, that's not confusion. That's discernment. That's your spirit in rebellion against a life that doesn't fit anymore, against choices that violate the truth God planted in you before your first breath. The longer you ignore it, the heavier it becomes. There's a dangerous transformation that happens. Conviction becomes familiar. Discomfort becomes normal. You learn to function around the very thing God asked you to confront. That's when warnings stop sounding urgent. That's when they become background noise. That's when the voice of God becomes just another opinion you're free to dismiss. And that's when you're in the most danger you've ever been in. You've been standing here longer than you want to admit. One path stretches before you, worn smooth by your own footsteps. It's familiar. You know its curves, its shadows, its dead ends. It drains you, Yes. It depletes you. Yes. It makes you smaller every day. Yes. But it's known. And the known, even when it hurts, feels safer than the unknown. The other path is covered in mist. It demands things you're not sure you can give. It requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. It asks for faith when you're running on empty. It promises nothing except the peace you haven't felt in so long you've almost forgotten what it tastes like. God will never force you to choose. Love doesn't work that way. Love respects free will, even when free will chooses bondage, even when free will chooses slow death, even when free will breaks its own heart. And that is why, after warning you, God sometimes steps back, not in abandonment, but in honor. Heaven grows quiet, not because God has left, but because the instruction is complete. The teaching is finished. The warning has been delivered. Now comes the part only you can do. Decide. Every ignored warning doesn't disappear. It returns, louder, heavier, more devastating. That's why the same pain keeps finding you in different forms. Different faces, same betrayal. Different jobs, same emptiness. Different cities, same restlessness. Different relationships, same wound. God isn't punishing you. He's trying desperately, relentlessly, trying to spare you from losses you won't recover from wounds that will take decades to heal, from choices that will echo through generations. Breakthroughs are waiting, doors are ready to open, blessings are positioned. But they exist on the other side of obedience, on the other side of alignment, on the other side of you finally choosing what God has been asking you to choose. You already know what it is. In the deepest part of you, beyond doubt, beyond fear, beyond excuses, you know what needs to change. You know what you've been postponing. You know what God has been asking you to release, confront, or walk away from. This moment didn't find you by accident. It arrived precisely when the warning phase ended and the decision phase began. This silence you've been feeling, it's not abandonment. It's responsibility. You have been shown enough to choose wisely. You have been warned clearly enough to understand what's at stake. You cannot say you didn't know. You cannot say you weren't shown. You cannot claim ignorance anymore. This is not the end of God's patience, but it is the end of unawareness. It is the end of excuses. It is the end of I didn't realize, and I didn't understand. You realize, you understand, and now you must decide. God is still with you, still willing, still ready to guide you into everything He's been preparing. But He will not repeat what He's already made clear. He will not rewrite the message you've already received. He will not redeliver the warning you've already heard. What happens next isn't up to circumstances. It isn't up to other people. It isn't up to timing or luck or fate. It's up to you. Choose alignment over comfort. Choose obedience over familiarity. Choose peace over repetition. Choose the life God is calling you toward over the life you've been clinging to. You've been warned not to frighten you, not to shame you, not to control you, but to protect what God still wants to do through your life, to preserve the purpose you were born to fulfill, to save you from a future where you look back and whisper the most painful words a human soul can speak. I knew, and I didn't listen. The choice is yours. The moment is now, and God is waiting to see what you'll do with both.